Welcome to this episode of Pen to Paper Press podcast. I'm Cindy Coaches. I enjoy spending time with best-selling authors, writers, editors, publishers, and the creative souls to talk about the process developing our stories to completing our works of art. Each episode is an opportunity for us to explore mindsets, pearls of wisdom, and the experiences that began our journey as an author from the moment we put pen to paper. Social media has changed our lives and allowed us to easily build friendships with other like-minded individuals around the globe. I was introduced to and became familiar with today's guest's writing more than 6 years ago through a group thread in which we both posted our blog post weekly. Her name is Vatsala. Vatsala Shukla is a best-selling author, change catalyst, executive and career coach. She mentors professionals to achieve their desired career aspirations and authentic life balance. She has published a lot of books, and I'm going to go through the titles. They are Goal Achievement Simplified, Wake Up Call, Get Noticed, Money Success Secrets, Cure Shiny Object Syndrome, if I can say that. 5 reasons your job hunt isn't giving you desired results. Self-confidence in 8 steps. And she's also participated in 2 collaborative book projects. In November, she published Miss Coco, the story of a Princess Pup who changed my life forever. Welcome to the Pen to Paper Press podcast virtual studio. It is so good to speak with you again.
It's lovely to be here, Cindy. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You are so welcome. I do want to begin our conversation by extending to you my condolences for the passing of your dear, sweet Miss Coco. Would you like to take a few minutes and tell us about little Miss Sweet Coco?
Well, she was a sweet doggy, and her other pet name at home, apart from being a Princess Pup, was She Who Must Be Obeyed. Well, when she came to us, I say it with a lot of love because just about an hour or two before our meeting today, I'd gone to where I'd buried her to say a few prayers for her. I mean, I've been doing it, but when she came to me in November of 2008, I was actually grieving over the loss of my previous dog, Bruno, and he was a very special dog because he was born the day I qualified as a chartered accountant in London, and he saw us through the grieving period after I lost my dad in 2004. And this little doggy came by chance. It's all there in the book about how my mom and I, by chance, prayed separately to Bruno's photograph on what would have been his 18th birthday, saying, we need a dog. Any breed will do, just make sure it's a girl. And the reason for that was that over all the years that we've had dogs, Cindy, girl dogs always have a problem getting homes. And if I was going to open my heart to a little puppy, then it had to be a girl. And I'd already met her 3 weeks before she became my dog. And by chance, on 17th of November, which is 2 days after Bruno's birthday, she came into our home. She was actually the youngest of a litter of 5, and she was the runt of the litter, if you want to call it that. Okay. And she never tried to take any of the Dachshund's place. She made her own little place, and she was very formal when she came. Wouldn't go into the kitchen, would stand outside waiting for her food to be served and all. By the time 12 years and more than 12 years had passed, by the time she had left, she was capable of growling at my mother with a very sweet smile, even at 11 o'clock at night, demanding rotis or chapatis. It's the Indian bread that we make, because she loved the taste of wheat. And, she was just full of love, Cindy. I mean, everybody who knew her loved her. At one point, my Facebook wall became Coco's Chronicles. But,
yes.
But, I thought, when she first came to me, and I'd read all these books about Tibetan Buddhism and how, you can help, animals get a better life the next time, in the next birth. I mean, this is purely from our own spiritual beliefs point of view. Mm-hmm. So, of course, they said that if you talk to, the pets and all, you're helping them, raise their awareness. Now, here's where things come a full circle, because after she passed away, and when I was having trouble coping with my grief, Cindy, I've had spiritual experiences that convince me that there is life after death. She has just transmuted into a different form of energy. And a dog, a pet dog, has actually helped me and my mother in our grieving process. And this particular book, in fact, is a complete circle, because the first book I ever wrote for Kindle was Self-Confidence in 8 Steps. And that also started with Miss Coco, because that time she had this hind leg paralysis issue. She'd had a relapse. She'd lost the confidence to walk again. And I was stuck at home. So I said, okay, I've spent so much money learning how to write Kindle books and everything. Let me put it to the test. And, 6 years later, my latest book is about this little Princess Pup. I mean, she was my guru. So this entire podcast will become one Miss Coco session if I'm not careful.
Well, I have questions for you about your coaching practice. So, and of course, the process that, you went through with your other writing. But yes, Miss Coco, you and I did a Zoom call, I don't know, a couple of years ago. I don't think I had Willie James yet. And
no,
she was the center of the attention when you brought her up on the screen, and it was just like, of course, my heart just melted. She was adorable. So
well, now you know why she was called She Who Must Be Obeyed.
She did have a presence about her. It's not that she demanded attention. You willingly gave it to her because you were, like you said, she's a guru. You wanted to learn more.
In fact, I would encourage your readers, your audience, to read that book. If they want to spend a bit of money, it'll be wonderful. Otherwise, if they've got Kindle Unlimited, please go ahead and read it, because this book was not a commercial venture. It's a labor of love. It was part of my grief process. And in fact, the night before I finally published it, I was planning to do it on the 17th of November to mark her 13th anniversary of being with me. And instead, on Sunday night, I started getting these feelings that someone is saying, just get the book cover and get the description done, do this, do that. I did it, and the next morning, I did one final look at it and I published it. Now, normally, Cindy, it takes 72 hours for a Kindle book to come up. This one took place in 72 minutes. And without any marketing, it hit #1 in the hot new releases for the pet care and animal essays section. And we're talking, Cindy, that no marketing was done, no launch team, no, sort of give everybody beta copies and stuff like that. And I've got 2 editorial reviews from people who read it. They loved it. I've got 2 proper reviews also from people who read it. And one of them never actually saw Coco because he's not on Facebook. I mean, he only knew that there's a dog in the picture. That there is some dog in the picture that, I mean, it's a feel good. It's a feel good book. I mean, you'll recognize a lot of Willie James antics in it. I mean, I think all our doggies, they know how to control the human beings, but it would help get a very important message out about animal laws also.
That's so interesting that you put it out there. You followed your guidance, your intuition, and the messages that you received from the divine, and without any marketing. That is incredible. I mean, I know people who can market till they're blue in the face and still are like, why can't I hit, at least the top 100? So truly a labor of love. And so what was it was there something in specific that made you just one day say, I need to write this book?
I think it's, when the day she died, by 10 o'clock at night, I knew I had to let everyone know that she was gone. I'd buried her. It had been raining and everything. And I came onto Facebook and, sort of, I just made a post, saying, Miss Coco, my little princess, I love you. I miss you. And of course, my nephew was online by chance, and he was the first one who wrote heartfelt condolences. And I think from there it picked up. And I think, I can't remember completely, but, when all the condolences started pouring in, I think it was Deborah Rebel who made she posted something in a condolence, and I said I'm going to write a book about her. I'm not going to let her be forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
And then sort of from there it sort of germinated. And there's another friend from Facebook. I mean, I've known her, God knows, 10 years now. We were part of another I mean, it's amazing how people come together, uh, you know and then later on they turn out to be very inspiring, at a different point, like you've been
Mm-hmm.
inspiring for me. This lady and I, we belonged to a group by chance, because I've always been interested in metaphysical things, and she was looking for testimonials for her new business, and she was offering free oracle card readings. And I had just discovered Doreen Virtue in those days. I was not completely into oracle cards at that time. So I wrote to her and I said that, I've got a problem. That was when Coco had her hind leg paralysis thing, and she'd had the relapse, and the window for her recovery was closing. And I wrote to her and I said that, can you do a reading for a pet? And she said, of course she'll try. So of course she did it. And it was really interesting, Cindy, because she was going to do a one oracle card reading, and she said that during her session she felt and she was going to use the Archangel Michael. And she said that during the reading she felt as if Archangel Raphael, who's meant for healing, he wanted to come through. And and she did a 3 or a 4 card spread then. And it turned out that my desire to try alternative therapy, get a second opinion, I was encouraged to do it, that the little one will get well. Okay, so of course that happened. I gave her a flourishing testimonial.
Mm-hmm.
But interestingly, after Coco died, and this lady has not been on Facebook for a long time, so she didn't even know the little girl was gone. She had started a YouTube thing, video. Every Sunday she would do an oracle reading for the week. So, and this one time I just said, let me see what she's up to,
Mm-hmm.
what Kinsey's up to. And I mean, the universe does bring us all together, Cindy. It does. And I'll tell you where you fit into the picture in a moment. But this friend of mine, Kinsey, she's done the reading, and then she looks a little awkward on the video. It's no longer available on YouTube, but she says, I'm getting a message that there's someone in the audience who has lost a pet, and they're encouraging you to write a book. And I
Oh.
wrote back to her. I wrote back to her and I said that, Kinsey, I think that message was for me. And of course, she was happy that I'd had many years with the little girl, and she was so sorry, Miss Coco was gone. And and then I just couldn't. I every time I'd sit down with a document or with a pen and paper, Cindy, I just couldn't write. And then I decided that, okay, now I'm going to do it. So on about 10 weeks after or so, after I lost her in April, I took a decision that now I'm going to start it. So in the beginning, I started doing recordings on Otter.ai, sorry. And, on their free program, they do transcriptions also. And of course, you have to be very careful because sometimes they made Coco into, Coco the drink. Sometimes they made her into Gaia. But sort of, I download the transcript and the recording and, sort of work through it. And then afterwards, sort of, I was able to pick up speed. But it's as if something was saying, tell my story. And then, of course, the sessions I've had with your group also have helped a lot, because every time you give us, these writing prompts, I mean, I know I'm not a very prolific writer in the group, but, I do think about it. And I said, okay, right. Keyword. What is your keyword? Go for it. And it took me 7 months, but I did it.
Just absolute goosebumps when you mentioned that the gal was getting the message that someone needs to write a story. It's just like, woo, little goosebumps. So
I was shocked. I was horrified. It's me talking to.
I love when those messages come through and confirm what we already know, but we might feel a hesitance to follow through on.
Yes.
You are a certified life coach and master spirit life coach. Yes. And the name of your practice is Karmic Ally Coaching.
Yes.
And which is how you were writing the blog posts for your coaching program, and that's how you and I became aware of each other and so forth. What inspired, or what event in your life inspired you to pursue the path of becoming a coach?
Oh, okay. I'm actually by education a chartered accountant, or what they call in the USA CPA, certified, uh, you know, CPA, a
A
CPA,
CPA, yeah, certified public
a
accountant.
certified professional accountant.
Yeah.
And I've been doing that for more than 25 years. I mean, no regrets. I mean, I've had an international career. I traveled to places. I've met so many people from different walks of life. But sometime in 2007, I fell sick. Uh, I was working crazy hours. My office had shifted 45 kilometers away from home. And after one particular meeting with for a listed company client, while I was driving home, I had severe pain in the left side of my body, flashes of lightning. And luckily, a friend of mine lived nearby only. So I parked the car on the side of the road and called. And by chance, he had just come back into town from a business trip. So, of course, he rushed me to the doctor. The doctor said, I have to be careful. We went through battery of tests for my heart and all. And luckily, there was nothing wrong with the heart, but the heart specialist who met me, he told me, he said, your cholesterol levels are too high, and you have to decide what you not whether your job is more important, your life is, because people with high cholesterol levels, even if you're nice and slim and trim, you can still have high cholesterol levels.
Mm-hmm.
And it was starting to affect my heart. And at that time, I realized that I didn't want to do this anymore. I wanted to, when you're going through all these crazy tests, it's a nice thing that everything came out okay, but it is a wake-up call of its sort. And I thought about it, that do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And the answer was no. So, before I became a coach, I actually started my own finance consulting business, where I'd help different corporates with, a new accounting standard, IFRS, which is International Financial Reporting Standards. And while I was doing it, that was the time they were implementing it in India. And I said, okay, I've got a window of 2-3 years. Let me figure out what I want to do next. And by that time, I realized that, I wanted my more personal helping side to come out, because I've mentored so many people in the corporate world. And I just decided, I mean, it was a leap of faith. Everybody gave me 6 months and they said, you'll be begging for a corporate job. And I said, let's see. I've been around in this business now for 10 years, Cindy. I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs.
Mm-hmm.
The last year was horrible for everybody, because my client base basically lost its job. But, sort of this journey is a much more interesting one. And it's much better than doing post-mortem of finances and accounts. And instead, you're actually doing your bit to make the world a better place.
So you've mentioned a couple of times that you're not in conversation. It's been brought up that you're not in the United States. So I've had guests in various countries. Do you mind sharing which country you're sitting in currently?
Yes, India.
You are in India.
I'm Miss India. I'm in India, and in New Delhi, to be precise. So
I love how,
am I the first Indian guest you've had?
I've had guests that, well, I had Gary Fay is in Australia, and another one is from Canada. Oh, I'm trying to think. Now I just had one recently that was in England, and oh boy, I've had a handful more that were out of the United States. So yeah,
then we can call you United Nations. We can call you. But it's so wonderful, the world of internet, that our paths cross. Cindy, you're sitting in the States, I'm in India. without Facebook, forget all the other privacy concerns we all have with them and all. But it's amazing how people who would never have met are actually able to meet and touch each other's lives so profoundly.
Yes, I agree. Like I mentioned in the introduction, I mean, I was trying to think how far back that I became a part of that Facebook thread, and you and I became aware of each other. And again, you and I were both submitting, links to our blog posts. At that point, I think mine may have been on my virtual assistant, or maybe it wasn't on my travels yet, or any of that. Well, it could have been my just random pearls of wisdom. Or it could have been on a magazine. Actually, it might have been based on some of my articles may have been that were in conjunction with Elements for a Healthier Life, which was the magazine that I published. But, your blog posts always followed, your coaching, the financial aspect, and so forth. And I actually went onto your website, and under the one category, and I have my notes here. Hang on one second. I got to look for it. It was, you have over 160 articles in the career coaching category. That's like incredible. That's a lot of articles.
Okay. Before we talk about my blog, I'll tell you which was your first blog post I ever read. You had, then you can figure out the year, but you had just sold your house and you were moving out. And next thing I knew it, you were in a van traveling all over the countryside.
Well, that was 4 years ago, and I would have been, of course, because part of, for those that are not familiar, part of the being a participant in this thread, you put a link to your blog post, and then if you put a link, you are strongly suggested. And it's kind of like that, writers supporting writers.
Yes.
If you contribute, reciprocate out of kindness and so forth. And I had been, well, the selling of my house, and that was 3 years ago. And I know that you and I have been following each other longer than that.
Yes, yes.
We had known each other.
Because you wrote some really interesting blog posts about your experiences while traveling.
I did.
and then, of course, when Willie James appeared on the scene, I think it took everything for me not to say, I told you, get a dog.
You did. You had told me I needed a dog to go with me. And for the first year, it was really funny because I held off and I was seeped in grief, and I didn't want to, I was not in a space to have to love another creature. I just couldn't do it. It wasn't in me. I hurt so bad. And I really needed the alone time just to kind of separate from everything known and be unknown, which was really great the first year that I went out traveling. And I left my home state in October of 2018. And I sold my house in 2018 in September. And when I came back, I had other friends and a handful of people. Oh, you should get a dog. You should take a dog. You should have another dog. I've always had dogs. I mean, we had them when I was growing up. We always had dogs. And by chance, Willie James came into my life. And I'll tell you, he's a little Chiweenie. So he's Dachshund and Chihuahua mix. He's one of those designer breeds. And he's like this nonstop energizer bunny, Billy goat kind of thing, because he'll climb up mountains. I mean, he's just like, he climbs and he goes and he runs. And, you know, we walked 3 miles and it was a pretty steep vertical climb. And we went 3 miles up into a mountain. And then, of course, you got to come back. So it's 3 miles down the steep, you know, trail. And he still wanted to go. And my feet are all blistered. I was dark. And he was just like, let's go. And I'm like, no. But
I loved actions. In fact, Coco, Miss Coco was also a designer pup. She was Cocker Spaniel and Shih Tzu, and I never knew which part of her genes would show up. So this Willie James' passion for walking, I think, is the Dachshund part of him.
Yeah. Well, he's right now he's sleeping. He's curled up sleeping. So
do give my regards to him when he wakes up.
Oh, I will. I'll give him a scrub under the chin for you. So, but you know, for your blog posts, because yours are very much financial, business geared. What motivates you, or what is it that where do you find your inspiration for the content that you've written over all of these years?
Well, in the beginning, it was I write best when I write from the heart, Cindy.
Oh yeah.
So when I first started my blog back in 2011, even before I had the website, you know, I used to write about things that, you know, as a career professional who had just left the corporate world and was now trying to help others, because the whole purpose is to help people get ahead with their careers, especially women, you know, sort of take on leadership roles. Because when I joined the corporate world 30 years ago, at that time, you know, your boss could be your mentor. They used to make time for you. Nowadays, everything is so automated, you know, performance reviews, and you're on a bell curve, and you want to be a leader. There's corporate politics. I mean, it's a very different world. And I was a bit of a trailblazer, because my first job was in Doha, Qatar, at a time when women were not in the profession over there. And when Price Waterhouse took the chance on me, after that, the Doha State Audit Bureau started hiring Egyptian lady accountants. So, you know, so sort of, I mean, I've seen what it's like to try to break a glass ceiling. You know, there are lots of stuff that I know about. So I used to write about that. Then I started doing themes for the month. I found that was easier than just doing random ramblings sort of thing. And so sometimes the theme would be on stress, sometimes on time management, sometimes on career leadership, you know, sort of. So, I mean, there are lots of categories, which I know as a good blogger, I should actually reduce. But, you know, there's something there for everyone. And then, of course, you know, the spirituality side of it, the mindset side of it. But I also do a lot of listening because, you know, there are times when I go on Quora. I used to be very active on Quora. Now I've stopped doing it because I found that, you know, some of the questions are really stupid. And then I found out that people are actually paid to ask questions. So, I mean, whether you ask a stupid question or an intelligent one, it doesn't matter. So last year, you could say I was doing my bit of CSR, or corporate social responsibility, because I got tons of questions asking about, you know, people were being laid off, Cindy. They were being laid off without any notice period, because, you know, we went into a total lockdown, the longest lockdown in the world. And, you know, people were being just dismissed. What should I do? What should I do? And I had to keep telling them, listen, talk to a labor court lawyer. I mean, you know, the labor law and your contract of employment does hold. And you know, sort of the Indian government had set up websites where, you know, people could go. The Prime Minister himself had said to companies on national television that please don't lay off your people. We're heading in for a very difficult time. You know, try to help your people. So, but, you know, not every company was doing it. The smaller companies, you know, they were just going belly up. So that time, sort of, I was getting a lot of questions. So I wrote a couple of posts about it. I made a few digital projects also. On those topics, I try to be trending. Like my latest blog post is trying to find your life purpose. It's, we're now entering December, so I'll be going more into, talking about, how to make 2022 a better year, because even 2021 has been a bad year for many people. And so, of course, sort of I brought in the Great Resignation, discussed it a bit from my perspective, and I'm just encouraging people, to go out and do what they want to do, but without being stupid. You don't shout at your boss and say I quit, and then after that you're spamming people on LinkedIn looking for a job. You plan things properly.
Yes.
But I draw my inspiration from what all I keep reading, and what they call it. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you're really passionate about helping your audience, you'll always find something or the other. Where you can give your own perspective, you can use your own experience, maybe even give a few tips on it. If it's a simple thing, maybe a how-to, or at least tell them what they need to do. And then, of course, if they like you, they might just phone you and say, listen, I'd like to talk to you about working with you. So I find blogging is a very good way of connecting with a wider audience.
Yes. Yes. And then do you have a certain routine that you follow when you're writing? Do you have a set date that you publish on, or any kind of a routine?
I usually start my blog posts around a Wednesday or Thursday, in the sense that I start making the outline. Then I start writing like a mad woman. And then afterwards I edit it like a more sober woman. And, then I try to find some photographs. Are there any quotes? Is there something really exciting? Sort of, since my blog posts are usually 1,200 to 1,500 words, sort of it takes a bit of time, because what I started writing about and what I end up publishing may sometimes be slightly different, but
Yeah.
Most importantly is get your thoughts on paper. What do you want to write about? Then you find some nice photographs, find some quotes, and then of course, all the back end work that goes on. You have to make sure that, because I have lots of photographs in my blog posts, sort of, and then sometimes you also, when I start getting bored of just writing, then I go ahead and I make a video blog post, and then I give the rest of the blog post as a transcript. So, sort of, but normally I try to publish by a Monday, latest by a Wednesday.
Okay. Because your blog post always has wisdom in it. Yours are not light and fluffy. Yours actually have actionable content and examples from your day-to-day, or from things that you've witnessed, or so forth. And your content is always very thought out, and again, very informative. It's not light entertainment. It's not like me talking about, today Willie James and I went to XYZ and experienced such and such. Yours is very educational. So
thank you.
Oh, you are so very welcome. So you have published, what is it, 7 books?
8 books. The Miss Coco is, of course, it's a tribute to my beloved Princess Pup. But other than that, I've written 7, which are actually, again, instructional, educational type of books. I mean, the goal achievement one, can easily help you set up proper goals. You won't need to do an online course. The wake up call gives you a roadmap if you've suddenly hit a wall on your journey, whether it's with your career or your life. And each of my books, apart from the Miss Coco book, they always have extra resources. But yes, the price of that is you have to get on my email list in order to get it. But I think that's normal.
Yes.
But no, I try to give my best, Cindy. I just want, sort of to help everyone.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm running a business, so I want to make some money too. But the general theme has always been, sort of that be of service.
Mm-hmm. Was there one book that was easier for you to write than the others? Was there one that just fell together, fell into place, and just like, wow, it's all on the page?
Oh, oh, I don't know. I mean, sort of, I'm one of those auditor types, who researches things, writes. But I think which one would it be? I think I was quite frenzied up about the job hunting thing, because I mean I was getting so many emails from people and messages on LinkedIn looking for jobs, and I had to keep telling them, listen, I'm not an executive search uh, function person. And of course, talking to them, I started discovering where they were making mistakes, and we're talking even about very senior professionals making those mistakes, Cindy. So
Oh,
there I just sat down and I started writing dung, 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 dung. And next thing I knew it, I had the 5 big mistakes that are, create a problem when you're finding a new job. And then I just edited it a bit and I said, hit publish. And I had a book.
so then, which of your books, of your professional books, not Miss Coco, because I know Miss Coco is the one you learned a lot about yourself, but on your professional books, which one did
Uh-huh.
you learn the most about yourself when you were compiling that, first draft content?
Oh, I think it would be the Goal Achievement Simplified book,
Okay.
because, uh, you know, I okay, with the auditor background, of course, sort of I'm very thorough about things, but trying to explain to someone how to set up a robust goal and actually achieve it is quite a challenge. And that is one area I think where a lot of us, we make goals, uh, we don't achieve it, because we don't actually think through those goals, and we don't know when we should actually revise a goal or how to go about it, to maintain the momentum. So, and so, I mean, I kept thinking of myself that, okay, where, whenever I didn't achieve a goal, where did I go wrong? Uh, how would I do it again if I had to, start over?
Mm-hmm.
And it's even got a very fun personality quiz inside it. The dope test, the bird test, as they call it, uh, the dove, owl, peacock, eagle test. So, I mean, it's a fun book. It's a fun book. I mean, you'd end up discovering a lot about your own behavior. Uh, for example, I can tell you one thing, that my behavior profile is such that if I'm passionate about something, I can just focus on it, nonstop, forget to eat my meals also. Uh, and if the passion is missing, or if there isn't something, hanging on my successfully achieving the goal, I'm quite capable of starting something else. And it's not just me, Cindy. A lot of people end up doing that. So that's the book, I think, which has more of what did I learn about goal achievement. Goal setting, yeah, I'll set 20 goals tonight after this call, but how many will I actually achieve?
You know, you hit on something that, yeah, I raised my hand, like how many people are achieving their goals. And yeah, I'm right there with you. If I'm passionate about a project, I am wholeheartedly in it. I lose hours. I can lose days in the absorption of trying to get it done. I'm one of those individuals. And if I'm not interested in it at all, then I truly have I just have no ambition to follow through, to finish it. I drag my feet. I clean whatever needs to be cleaned, or things that don't even need to be cleaned. Yeah. So I'm right there with you. If it's something that interests me, I'm in. If it does not interest me, yeah, no.
It takes a lot of it takes a lot of courage to admit that, Cindy. And I think that is the first sign that, sort of find goals that motivate you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, we have, I'm sorry, there's some firecrackers bursting behind me. I don't know what's happened. Maybe India won a cricket match or something like that.
Oh,
But
I wonder what the
I have
boom
no
was.
idea. I'll have to check the news and see what's happening in the world. But, oh, God.
A
This
celebration is a good thing, right?
God knows we need celebrations. This Omicron business is really frightening.
We have all of us all around the globe have such a learning experience since
Yes.
The beginning of 2021. And I keep hearing people saying, oh, I can't wait for everything to go back to normal. I don't think life is really going to go back to what we would consider normal. So we just have to learn to adjust our sails, accept what we cannot change, and look at the things that we can change, which obviously is our perception and how we look at things, and be grateful. I saw a meme that said something about this isn't the year of doing, it's the year of accepting, or something like that. And it was like, yeah, be grateful for what you have. And that is a mind shift. It prompts a mind shift change.
It does indeed. Sort of America had a horrible first wave. India had a horrible second wave. And the worst was that by January, we had the vaccine. And of course, Cindy, there is vaccine hesitancy, especially if you're in the high-risk group. And, and then suddenly the second wave hit us. And we lost so many people we knew. I think it's the same as what was happening in the United States during the first wave. But it wasn't just a matter of numbers. Suddenly it became personal. You could actually put names to it. And I think the biggest lesson, at least that I have taken from the last 2 years, is don't take anything for granted. And try not to argue with your loved ones. Try not to have differences of opinion. I mean, sort of, and like you said, just be grateful. Be grateful for what you have. And, gratitude itself, Cindy, raises our vibration levels.
Yes.
And helps us to attract more of what we want, not what we don't want.
Right. It does. And when you're always, when we were a kid, it was, I spy something, and like you'd name a color, I spy something green. So then you're observant of, okay, what's in my surrounding that's green? So what you put your attention to is what you're focused on. And when you're focused on that, okay, now you're looking for everything green. So that's what you're sorting out. And the same goes for your perception. If you're angry and upset, or if you're happy, what is it that you're looking for? And that takes a bit. Truly, I am not necessarily good at that, but it is an awareness that I have, and it's something I have to work on myself. So,
because the mind is going to try to find, sort of the way our brains work. Once you decide on something like green, then you're going to suddenly notice there's lots of green around you. Because the mind is going to be actually focusing only on finding things that validates its opinion, that everything is green. You'll have green cars, green mushrooms, green people. And I'm sorry, not green people, but you'll just see green and green, because the mind is only going to be looking for that. So we've got enough sorrow in the last 2 years. Maybe it's time we all try to just find at least one good thing happening each day.
Yes. Agreed. So then your books, you self-published all of them. And Is there a favorite element to the publishing process? Is it the writing, editing, publishing it, or, well, I was going to say marketing, but with Miss Coco, you didn't have to market.
Well, I'm now starting to market it a bit in the sense that I'm telling friends about it. For me, just hitting the publish button was a very big thing. And then I let it be. I told my sister it's out. I told one or two close friends. I mentioned on Facebook that, I've done it, sort of I achieved that goal of mine in 7 months. Everybody was happy. And then by chance, sort of I'd gone on to Amazon.com to pick up the link to share with someone else. And I suddenly saw, oh, I've got a ranking. And then I started looking careful. That's how I discovered that I had ranked in the hot new bestsellers list. In fact, it's still out there on Amazon.com, again under pet essays, is it? Or is it hot new releases? I'll have to check. But I mean, right now I'm number 4 over there. But in India, I hit number 1 without any effort. So I think Miss Coco is also pushing the book, but my favorite is actually when I hit that publish button.
Is it? So
it's when I hit the publish button. Because, sort of there's that sense of achievement that, yes, now I can have that glass of chilled wine. I can have an extra, chocolate, sort of, it's that sense of completion that you've done it.
Yes. Oh, I like that. And I like that you celebrate with a glass of wine and chocolate. My kind of girl.
Yes.
So then because you're self-editing, is there a tip that you want to share with others about how you do your self-editing that you feel would help somebody else when they're looking at their manuscript going, okay, now I gotta reread this, I gotta edit this? Is there something that you would share, you have to share with them?
Definitely. First things first, don't read the whole manuscript in one go. Because after a little bit of time, your eyes are going to get tired and you're going to skip things. So the minute, if you've written a big book like the 21 chapters in Miss Coco, after 2-3 chapters, I'd actually put it down. And I would suggest that, read it aloud to yourself, because, that also helps you to pick up how it's flowing. So be prepared, to go back and reread it 2-3 times. It's all part of the game. The last thing you want is, to suddenly have to go back, re-edit and upload it again. And then have everything, hanging till Amazon does it. So, take breaks, especially what they call it when you're doing the edits. And secondly, if you're doing it on Kindle, which is the easy way to do it actually, the Amazon has a guide for Kindle publishing. Follow it to the rule. They've laid it out very simply, very, very simply. And of course, when you've uploaded it, sort of make sure you go through each and every page to see how it's sitting. And if it's not sitting properly, then go back, fix it, and then upload it again.
Thank you.
And follow the rules in that in the Kindle book for publishing I think that's the title. It's a bluish book, looks like the Kindle software itself.
Yes.
And I would say, use the tabs buttons and, to check how it's whether it's falling into place, spacing and all, just follow the rules. But definitely be prepared that you may have to go back and proofread 2-3 times. If you've got somebody who can help you with the proofreading, let them help you out, because the eyes do get tired.
Well, and we know what's in the book or what it's supposed to say. And so oftentimes when we read what's supposed to be there, not what's actually there. And wow, the fireworks are really going off in the background.
I'm curious what's happened.
It's a celebration. Yay. It's good.
Yeah, somebody's celebrating, but it's messing up my my chat with you.
No, actually, you want to know what? If anything, there's always something. Truly, there is always something. There's a lawnmower. Probably about 10 minutes ago, 20 minutes ago, I had a snowplow drive past, and dogs barking. There's my phone rings, even if I turn it off sometimes, or not turn it off, but turn the volume off, or I think I do still. Sometimes a phone will come through on my computer, ring through on my computer. And so that ends up having to get cut out of the recording. So, life happens. And what a blessing that it's a celebration this time and not just somebody out mowing the lawn. Well, we've got snow on the ground here, so.
Well, everybody, at least whoever listens in later on, will know that this was a natural chat. It wasn't, a staged one like on television where everyone's makeup is done up and everyone is smiling away. We were having a serious chat.
Exactly. So out of this beautiful conversation, I do want to say thank you, because we have really touched on a lot of information. Is there anything that you wanted to share that I have not asked you about yet?
Well, since I'm a prolific writer who never meant to be a writer and now has books, has done collaborative projects and all, and I know that the audience will be listening to you, will be looking for guidance on writing and becoming published themselves. I would say choose a topic that's in your heart. Like those educational books also, they were based on things I was seeing and wanted, to put down my thoughts on it. Sort of you can always figure out, all these great courses that they have out there. With all due respect, those are commercial courses on how to write a book and all. But, that part, the technical part, you can always learn. But when you start writing, write about something that touches your heart, because when you do that, then Cindy, it touches other hearts too, like-minded hearts.
It does. And you can feel when it comes from somebody's heart and when it comes from the whole mindset of, I've got to get the SEOs right. I've got to make money from this, or it's got to be, when it's forced, you can feel it. Or when somebody is doing the sales pitch, an empty sales pitch, you can feel that. You know that the person who is sharing the content wants to help and wants to share their story. Yes. And before we get going too much further, what is your website so that people can learn more about you, your business, and read your blog posts?
Okay. My website, you'll have to also, I know you'll be leaving it with the introduction. It's www.karmic, KARMIC, coaching, COACHING.com. So that's the name of my business. And on the homepage, you'll see my nice smiling face and telling everybody, we should help you with your careers. And you're like, sort of, let's get you to the top. And of course, on the very top is the navigation bar. And then you'll see the blog button there. Otherwise, just, Karmikalai Coaching /.com /blog. And if you go on Amazon and you type in Vatsala Shukla, then you will, you should hopefully see me. But there's another Vatsala Shukla there too, who writes on political subjects. She's a professor. But no, it's me, because the first book that you'll see on the author profile page is Miss Coco right now.
Yes. And I will have Amazon links to your books on the show notes page, and also your website. I do that for all the guests. That way, I want to make it easy for the listeners to connect, one, with the guest speaker, because that's so important. I've had many people say, oh my gosh, so-and-so, his information or her information, I want to learn more. Or,
Yeah.
Or they tell me, I bought their book. That warms my heart, because that's the whole intent of this, is writers supporting writers and helping to bring awareness to not only the books that we've written, but our backstory and how did we make it through the writing process, because it's not necessarily, sometimes it's really easy and sometimes it's like, oh, I got to do this. Because
but right from the heart, that's the only thing I can say. When you start writing, whether it's an educational book or like the Miss Coco book, you write from the heart, and sort of be ready that you will go through tons and tons of revisions, because when you start writing, the new ideas also come in, and but just start writing. Put your pen to paper and do it.
Yes, and do it. and that is the motivation we all need, is just do it. Oh, and and of course, like, my throat is like choking up on that one, because I've been thinking I need to work on a book, and I've been resisting, thinking I'm not ready to crack open that book. And I've been writing the memoir, and it's like I'm at a point where I need to rest the memoir, and I need to, I got to find my journals out of storage for some of the travel stuff, because I want to share in the memoir more than what was on the blog. And and if anybody wants to read my travels on the blog, it's ckkochis.com, and you'll find my blog post there. I want to have deeper elements of my travels in the memoir, so I've got to find those. But it's time for me to put that book aside and work on this other book. And I've been resisting, because the first draft, I know, is like a hodgepodge of information. I've just been like, oh, do I really got to do it? Actually, what I need to do is just print out what I have and take a red pen and go to town and read it.
And be ready to do 2-3 edits and add more, because sort of after I had gotten my so-called draft ready, and I was just going to do a final edit out of the blue, I remembered, sort of, I've got an incident in the Miss Coco book about how a cat came up to us and was crying, and how Coco looked up at me as if to ask, can we help? I was trying to tell about her compassionate nature, even towards the cats and all. And then I suddenly remembered that, oh God, I left out the story of another cat who was her admirer when she was a puppy. One of my friends had a cat who thought he was a dog and used to follow her. So suddenly I had to, go back and change everything. That, oh God, I must write about this cat called Murugan, who was my Miss Coco's admirer when she was a puppy. And he used to actually walk behind us at a respectful distance. He fell in love with Coco when she was a puppy. And if you go inside the preview of the book on Amazon, you'll see why. Because there are 3 puppy photos of her. You can't blame the male cat for falling in love with puppy. So.
I remember all of the posts that you had over the years of Miss Coco out for walks, with your mom, sitting on your lap, she's just she is the Princess Pup. And
absolutely.
So adorable.
And she who must be obeyed. So I think the night before, that Sunday night, when I said I'll look at it tomorrow with fresh eyes, I think her soul came through very strong. The room was very, I could feel this breeze near my face, as if saying, just do it, just do it. So I got her. So I did the quick cover, got the pixels right. I wrote a book description, made sure I had it in an HTML form. And then after that, sort of I started to feel that, okay, now I can let it rest. Tomorrow morning, I'll get up and I'll do it. So even in the spirit world, Madam was saying, I am still she who must be obeyed, publish. And 72 minutes later, the book was out there.
And that's amazing because, like you said, when you publish to Amazon, it does take time. And for it to be less, it's an hour and 12 minutes. That's crazy. Yes. I don't think I've ever seen Amazon do anything that fast.
No. And then I'll give another little story. Before the review, before I got my 2 proper reviews, I had some people who had read it, on Kindle Unlimited. They have the where I think they've got the membership, so they can read it for free. So they had read it, and then they gave me 2 editorial reviews. Now it takes 3 to 5 business days for an editorial review to come through. Cindy, within half an hour, each of those editorial reviews.
Wow!
I'm telling you, God exists. Yeah. Miss Coco is out there in the spirit realm saying, read about me. No more bullied my mama.
And talk about divinely guided, because you're right, it does take time for the testimonials and the recommendations and the ratings and all of that to come through, because they have to go through their verification process. And and again, it's nothing against Amazon. It is their policy to take the time because, one, they have to verify who you are, what you're writing. They have to verify, they've got a huge, long thing that they do to make sure that the formatting is okay, that there's nothing that sets off their red flags. And and just for it to go, and of course, then with the testimonials and the ratings, it takes long because, one, they have to verify that the person bought it through Amazon and that it's a legitimate person and not, the author doing, fake comments or whatever, so that is pretty cool. And, if anything, for Amazon to do it, it's a great thing because they are verifying that these are legitimate and it's accurate information. So, again,
it gives me also the confidence to publish there. It gives me also the confidence that, these guys are, they're on the ball, because a few years back, they actually removed lots and lots of reviews because they were all fake reviews.
Yeah.
So, instead of having 100 reviews, I'd rather have, 2 or 3 genuine reviews from people who've, actually read it, because at least, it shows that, okay, these are authentic reviews. I mean, I don't know, 100 reviews is great if you've got a marketing team, but I mean, I'd be grateful if someone read the book and left a loving comment for my Miss Coco.
Yes.
That's as much marketing as I'm going to do.
I think Miss Coco is marketing hardcore for you in the backside. On the other side of the road. Oh, that's so great. I love that she is still with you and making it very well known to you that she is with you and guiding you. And what a blessing. Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me here. I am so grateful for this conversation. It has been way too long since you and I have spoke. We'll have to get in touch again soon.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for giving me this opportunity. I mean, and for indulging me as I spoke about Princess Pup.
Oh, I love that you talked about the Princess Pup. All right. Thank you. Before we end our time together, I'd like to say thank you for listening to my conversation with Vatsala. To receive future episodes in your inbox, subscribe to the newsletter and follow us on your favorite podcast application. You are invited to share your favorite episodes with individuals who will resonate with the content. Take care, and until next time, keep your pen to paper and write. Your words have power. Your story matters. Bye for now.